Is it too late to get into oil, or is there other opportunities out there that are oil related? If you've been living under a rock, you might have missed that oil was trading below zero as of Monday and has skyrocketed up over $14 per barrel. So maybe you missed out on the run up. Maybe you missed the bounce. Is this a missed opportunity, or is there still more available to you? Well, I'm going to let you know about my opinion on what I think about oil coming up. That's right, guys. So the price of oil futures not only went to the floor, but crashed right through it into the basement, coming down to negative $37.63 per contract. What? How does that even happen? Well, I'm going to let you know how that happens and what opportunities this may or may not present coming up in just a second. But first, I want to welcome you to my channel. Hi, my name is Brad, and this is Own the Chaos. The stock market is a crazy and chaotic place, no more evident than it has been over the last several months, and I've made it my job to help you own it. So if you want to see more content such as this and learn more about investing and day trading in the stock market, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell to get notified every time I put up a video. And if you get value out of today, I certainly would appreciate a thumbs up. Okay, so on to today's topic. So yes, oil has come down not only to the ground floor, but actually pierced right through it all the way to the basement, coming in at negative $37.63 as of the close on Monday. But it has bounced, and as of this recording is trading at around $14.50 a barrel. And that is just futures. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. But what does this mean? How can oil be trading below $0? Now, you might have already read this before, but for all intents and purposes, let me just go over this real quick. Oil future owners literally had to pay to sell their own contracts. No, we're not talking about physical oil here. We're literally talking about pieces of paper, actual contracts for oil. The WTI futures contracts that were set to expire on Tuesday are physically settled contracts. That means that any company that bought those contracts are obligated to receive physical barrels of oil at the time the contract expires. Now, if they sell before it expires or before the market closes on the day of the expiration, then there is no obligation. They're fine. They're good. They sold that piece of paper. No problem. Unfortunately, some individuals waited a bit too late to try to sell their contracts, and buyers knew this. And at this point, they could practically name their price. And that's where you had a situation on Monday where companies were literally having to pay these people to sell and get rid of their contracts, so they weren't obligated to that oil. Unless they had some tanker sitting around to be able to store this stuff, I think they were going to be in some hot water. So they literally had to take an even further hit on this and actually pay to get rid of the contracts. So to be clear, the physical price of oil did not go down to zero or negative $37 a barrel. It was the contracts themselves that actually did. Now, since Monday, this has made quite a bounce from negative $37 all the way up to $14.50. This has been quite a jump. Oil has bounced back, if you will, a little bit here. And so because of this bounce, you might be asking yourself, is it too late to get in now? Are there other opportunities considering how far oil has come down? It can't possibly go any lower, right? But before I get into that, I just want to invite you over to the Chaos Crew. Now, this is something that I just started off with, and I really have gotten a lot of good feedback from it. And what I do is I give everybody a watch list of the things that I'm watching before the market opens every single day. So every day, the Chaos Crew gets a watch list from yours truly. If you want to be a part of that for $4.99 a month, go click the join button over there on my channel, and I would love to see you guys there. Okay, so back to today's topic. As I've been saying for months, oil, in my opinion, just isn't investment worthy at all, and I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel for oil right now. Just last week, as I talked about the OPEC deal going through and how I said that they were going to be cutting down oil by record numbers, and I don't think it's even going to make a dent in the crisis that we are dealing with as far as the oversupply of oil. I wasn't kidding. Storages are still expected to reach capacity by July 4th despite these cuts. It's not enough it wasn't enough, and it's a little bit too little too late at this point. And in my opinion, this could actually bring the physical price, remember we were just talking about the contracts, and that's why I explained it earlier, this could bring the physical price of oil per barrel to zero. Absolute zero. So I think it goes without saying that I don't think anything oil related should even be touched right now or in the foreseeable future. Hopefully you were able to grab some on this bounce and are laughing all the way to the bank right now. But in my opinion, laugh all you want, just don't look back at this. Now I know some of you are out there who may have watched other YouTubers or what have you saying, well, now's the time to start looking at some things to potentially get into because demand will come back eventually. And they're right. Absolutely. Demand will come back and the value of oil will increase slightly, in my opinion. I don't think it'll increase enough to really support any kind of substantial increase. And I have my theory about this, and I actually want to hear from you guys too. So make sure that you're leaving comments down below. But I have this theory that just because people are going to be allowed outside of their homes to go to work doesn't necessarily mean that they will. And my reasoning is this. Look at all of your white collar jobs. Now, let's just leave the blue collar jobs aside for a second. We'll get back to that. But if you just look at your white collar jobs, Goldman Sachs, for example, they just announced at their latest earnings report that 98% of their employees are working from home and are able to keep up with all of their operations as normal. 98% of their employees, that's an insane number. And the fact that they're able to keep up with all of their trading activity without a hitch, that to me speaks volumes. And if I was the CEO of Goldman Sachs, I would be asking myself, if 98% of my employees can work from home and everything is running as efficiently as possible, all of our trades are still being made as they were before, why am I paying all of this money to lease buildings to house these people in when they could just sit in their own homes? And this goes for all of the other big banks too. Bank of America announced that 72% of their employees were working from home, and so on and so forth. JP Morgan as well. My point is that what happens when people are allowed back out and realize just how efficient they were still able to be from home? Many people have been talking about this for some time, about the ability to work from home and how that keeps increasing. And I think that this situation that we're in will only accelerate that. So that leads me back to the demand for oil. Even though there might be some folks that go back to work and need to drive and need to use heavy machinery, such as your blue collar workers, I do think that demand for oil will go up slightly, especially when it comes to shipments, your truckers, the airline industry. They're all going to still need to be able to transport everything and move things. But I think from a white collar standpoint, if you are working for a bank or if you're working for a technology company, something like that, you're not going to want to go to work anymore. You're not going to want to fight traffic. If you have the ability to work from home, you're going to be asking your employer, why can't I just do this from home like I did back when everybody was sick? And so that is one key reason why I don't think oil is even going to be remotely investment worthy moving forward. Now, if you're still watching this video and you're asking yourself, yes, but there still has to be something to invest in oil. Isn't there something that we can do to make some money off of this tragedy? And I would say there probably isn't. I'd say that there's going to be an even further drop in oil before any of this even remotely starts to get better. Because once we reach capacity, drilling stops, everybody stops. It goes nowhere. But fair enough. I hear you. If you're looking to get into anything that's oil related, here's what I would do. I would look at oil companies that have excellent balance sheets and a lot of cash set aside, prepared to scoop up a lot of these other smaller oil companies that are undoubtedly going to go bankrupt. We've already seen this from Whiting, one of the largest companies as it relates to drilling, that went bankrupt just last week. And I think that's just one of the many dominoes that are going to continue to fall. So the only two that I would look at to potentially put some money into is going to be Chevron and Exxon. Those are the only two companies that I would look to do any kind of long-term investing in. And even right now, I would hold off on that until we start to see what happens once we do reach capacity here. Really, the only things that these two companies have going for them are their high-yield dividends. So if you're interested in dividends, that's definitely something to consider. But anything else related to the company is not going to be good. So I think it goes without saying about what my opinions are on oil, and I think that you should just stay away from them. I mean, honestly, there is so many other better opportunities out there in the stock market right now, considering how far everything has come down, that oil is the absolute worst thing to look at, in my opinion, when there's so many other things that you could look at that would actually make money for you in the long run. Now, we've talked about a lot of those opportunities on this channel as far as ones that might be underrated and some good stay-at-home plays that maybe you might want to consider. So if you're interested in checking that out, I encourage you to look back at some of the videos that I've put up recently in regards to that. But, oil is just something that I would just stay away from, guys. You're only going to get yourself in more trouble as far as this is concerned. This story hasn't finished playing itself out. And, the craziest thing to me is that they are still pumping oil. They're still pumping millions of barrels of oil every day, and they're not getting used up. So I'm curious to see what happens when, there's nowhere else to store it. And as far as that's concerned, I definitely want to hear from you. Leave me some comments down below. Where do you think oil is headed to at this point? What happens once we do reach capacity? I would definitely like to get your thoughts on this. Or am I too bearish on oil? Am I having too much of a negative outlook on this, and I'm just not seeing something that, maybe you're seeing? I certainly would love to hear from you, as well as I'm sure our community would love to hear from you too. I always love encouraging different points of view, and it really makes for a great conversation. So it's been working out so far. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. That being said, guys, this is going to do it for me in this video. If you have not yet checked out my mentorship, my daily mentorship over at WeTradeHQ.com, I would love to invite you over to check that out. I'm providing a free 30 days for you to come in and hang out where I go live from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. I go over all the picks that I'm looking to make for that current day and answer any questions. And it's just a great community to be a part of. Not only am I there for that hour, but I'm also in a private chat as well via Discord. It's just a great community. Everybody there shares ideas, thoughts, opinions, celebrates in each other's success. And it's not just about me. It's about everybody getting together and learning and growing. So it's a great community to be a part of. And I would love to see you there if you're interested. And that's going to do it for me, guys. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, hopefully I've earned your subscription by the end of this video. And please make sure that you're hitting those notifications to get notified every time I put a video up. And if you got value out of today's video, I certainly would appreciate that good old thumbs up. And as always, folks, I will see you all before the bell, and B. Smith is out. That's right, guys. So Warren Buffett has divested almost $400 million of his Delta and Southwest stock. And so a lot of you guys responded to last week's video when I said now might be a start to be a time where you may want to consider starting to scale yourself in